the inside of the other person.
What we perceive as what is happening inside of the other person, was that?
Yeah. What could the outcome of that be in a closed?
Yeah. The way they see reality, the way they approach things, approach other people. It all shows what they have inside.
That's right. If I heard that correctly, sorry.
Yes, and I think it's if we're allowing ourselves to hear it, it's information. What I like, but my reaction was I would fight back.
Yes.
And so what it means is that it's easier for me to see other people's than it is to see my own.
Okay. So if you can see your own, what might happen if you were to speak to your own to the other person?
What it was or what it is?
I think what it is in that moment, if you had to speak to that, okay, let me begin again. So if you had to speak to what you see in the other person, your perception of what's going on for the other person, for them to be so angry, if you had to speak to that and then speak to what it does to you to see them the way that they are in that moment, what could the outcome of that be? And it will always be different, right? Let's be clear about
that. So let's practice what you would do in the moment of it. Because there was two questions there, and I thought they were good, and then we ended on like jumping over the very first part, which I thought was important.
Okay.
And so here, like, why does that dynamic exist anyway? Like with people, because it is easier to see it in others than it is in ourselves.
Sure.
Not a And so,
for me, oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, go, Chi. You got something there.
Well, it's, in relation with my daughters, I'm approaching it, more. Sorry. The word just but yeah, and I acknowledge the feeling, the hurts, all that. Acknowledge, and then asking questions like, you want to point the finger at the problem, or you want to work on to find a solution.
Wonderful. Love that.
Chi, in the acknowledgement, like, what does the acknowledgement sound like?
Good question. It's allowing. It's surrendering.
And how do you demonstrate that? How do you demonstrate that to the other person?
Just by asking questions that shows that I'm listening, without judging.
Natural.
Sorry?
You're a natural.
Like I have to step up, be a good example.
Yeah. So I'll just say this, sorry, Jess. Ultimately, what I perceive as having happened in you, G, is that the love that you have for your kids and the experience that you've had within the group, which you speak about, that those overrode any personal agenda, in inverted commas. They allowed you to put the personal to sleep, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of that love that you have for them and what you want for them.
I'm aware of that. I'm doing it for love.
Yeah.
I will always stand up for them, not judging them, not hitting them on the head with the faults and with all that.
Yeah.
I keep telling them that no, we all make mistakes. It's a part of being human. And then it's mistake is just something you can learn from. That's the best way to learn and grow from it, rather than hitting yourself on your head with it.
Yeah, then you can do that with kids. I'm not so sure that you can do that with a partner.
Yeah, that's my partnership ended abruptly. So yeah, it's been a learning experience. There's much to take away from that.
Just better and better.
You're hitting me in the head.
Okay, so I'm so sorry, Jess. I diverged, but so can you go back?
Yes, I can. So what hits me in the moment is that I'm sad for the fixedness.
Mm.
I'm sad for an unresolvable loop. And not for me. So if I were to speak, that's how I would speak to it.
And I would add, did you feel the sadness completely and dissolve it? 100%.
Well, let's see. And then is it there?
If it's not there, then it would be an issue. Because if that thing made you sad to begin with, then there's a feeling to be felt. And when it's dissolved completely, then it's gone. There's no lesson to learn there.
Mhm.
Ah,
It may not be my lesson.
yes.
Because I'm with you, Pascal. And it's like I think that's, well, first of all, it's like the the reactions, right, is really the feedback. So it's like, oh, for me, it's like my reactions, that's my feedback. Like what is that, what grabs me? And man, does that take, again, that's not a light switch. You just don't switch that light switch off. So that means that it takes that time and time, I don't know how many times, but time and time and time again to just change it slightly.
Mm. Mm.
So it was
Situation's
into,
repeating itself.
what's that?
It's the situation is repeating itself.
Mm.
And from a
In
perspective
different
of,
form, or
yeah, yeah.
then there's something there.
If it continually shows up, then right, there's mine, theirs, ours. It's only those. And so I to speak to what's there. And so here, like, I know my automatic is to, if I respond, will be fight or accuse. And so it's like, oh, that's my, that's just been a default pattern of mine. I mean, it's just as a child, right? And sure, you could call it an excuse.
What about denied?
What's that?
What about denied?
What about denied?
Yeah. Like
Did I
the fight, accuse.
fight, accuse, or deny? Did I say deny? I was just wondering where denied came from.
Or say like your wife says like, you didn't pick up the garbage again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, would you fight back? Or you would deny it? Or you would accuse her of something else?
Oh,
Because for me, it's hard to take the blame, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
And
my.
then, no, and then you accuse, right? I accuse of something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you didn't push your chair. And I kind of brush it away.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, you didn't shut the light
Mm-hmm.
all day.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a very similar, right? To like the. aware, doing that, and not wanting to do that. So it's to replace it with something else. Is not just a light switch.
Yeah. And that means we think we know that we all one, but we don't know.
No, tell someone that.
With a grain of salt.
But again, it goes to the point that it's just easier to see it in others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you see it in others, you see it in yourself. It's a big concept of we're all one.
Hmm.
Or is it a concept, but it's really the reality, right?
If you have it.
We don't all want the same thing at the same time. Necessarily. When I was just thinking, most of us want peace. But there's a percentage of people that want something else above that. When I say above, I mean other than that.
Because they're so far downstream of the creator.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe you're on the main floor and they're in the basement climbing up.
Hmm.
What would you do? Would you just shine a light so they can see to go up? Or you're just going to push them down the stairs? And keep climbing up.
A light is always better.
Agree?
And what if people are afraid to give the light? So their safety is to keep pushing you down the ladder. And yet you're still going to keep climbing the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's coming to mind for me is that there was a little saying that I wrote down after an interview with the guy that did energy healing, and what he said was, the most important thing in our lives is how we love and how we allow ourselves to be loved. And there's so much in that, in those two sentences.
The more you love yourself, the more the people around you love you, which is just a reflection of you, because we're all one.
Yeah.
The question is, how much do you love yourself?
Yeah.
Not just physically.
Mm-hmm.
Can you forgive yourself for everything you've done wrong, even though that doesn't exist, to others?
I've done no wrong, Pascal.
Mhm.
Well,
Then you have nothing to work on.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that to me is sad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sad for what could be, will
Yes.
not be achieved.
Yeah.
is the true test is always in the heat of the moment. And so when we're not in the heat of the moment, we're practicing so that the heat of the moment is different, better, not the same thing as before. How else would things change?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, guys, it's been an amazing conversation this morning.
Thanks for
More
stopping
deep
by,
as you can
Pascal.
imagine.
Bye,
Mm.
Pascal.
Bye, Pascal.
So,
All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Love you all.
Love you too.
Bye. Bye, Pascal. Wow, he was in his heart today, wasn't he?
You could feel that.
Just the peace, the calm, the demonstration of just stayed.
Mm-hmm.
That was an excellent demonstration.
I was thinking about the if then conditions.
Yes. Because that's what people in a closed structure are in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in those conditions.
Yep. And so why is that a closed structure?
Because you're always chasing what's missing.
Mm.
And you're not expanding what there is.
Mm.
And also it's the inside outside again, right? What's missing is out there. Or you're holding out there accountable for what's missing in here.
Yep. And what's sad is that it's available right there to expand what's there rather than to bring in what isn't.
I'm going to ask another question. What if one would speak to what we see in the other person that is there?
Can you repeat it again?
Yeah.
What is it?
What would it be like? What could it be like if we were to speak to what we do see in the other person that is there, as opposed to what we see as missing?
Yeah. Yeah. And what came to my mind is, in terms of when we speak to another person, we had to let it go through a filter. Does it hurt? Will it hurt the other person? Will it, is it necessary? Or yeah. First, we had to let it go through a filter. Yeah. And be honest, be open, be non-judgmental,
Authentic.
authentic. Yeah. So asking ourselves, how can we serve the other person? Looking through the lens of, compassion. I believe that, being compassionate and being non-judgmental is so important, so crucial for, communication, to get the best out of it. Because they're just a reflection of ourselves.
And so we start again with, as Pascal said, our self-compassion, right?
We attract what we judge, until we no longer judge what we attract. So it repeating cycle, until we get it. Yeah, I can see it in my parents. Yeah, keep repeating, because I was judging myself all the time. Yeah, so I attract people who judge me.
I think most of us do that.
I hope there's an answer for your question.
No, it was perfect. Thank you, Chi.
You're welcome. Next, Heinz.
Next. That's the wrong attitude. Not wrong. That's a different attitude. What's next? What's next?
Do we have an answer for Allison's question?
I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
Yeah, he was out to the bathroom and came back to the middle of the sentence.
What was the question?
I think
Have
I
you-
asked, Hans, I think I asked, what do you think could the outcome be of if we, are in a heated situation with somebody who is in a closed structure within themselves? And if we were to then speak to what we see in them that they already have, as opposed to what they don't have. So it would be speaking to our appreciation of what we experience of them. And perhaps how we want that to be amplified, or how we want to make space for that to be able to grow and for it, be able to shine. And it's just, I don't have the answers to this. I'm just, noodling.
I was going to say that you're just noodling with it. Some questions there are no answers to.
Mm.
It's just feeling way around it because the answer comes from the person's way of looking at it.
That's right. The ultimate answer will, yeah.
That's why it's often not the best idea to say, well, this will be good for you. How can we know it will be good for them?
Yeah. But as Jesse said, if we practice in between the hot irons, then we can be better prepared for them. And that can be of benefit to everybody. I was thinking about Annette's conversation yesterday. I think it was yesterday, where she said that she didn't want the old relationship that she had with somebody. She would want to build a new relationship with them, and that the guidelines of that relationship needed to be agreed upon by both parties. And if that wasn't possible, she was okay to lose the relationship.
What might that other person think of that?
Mm. And what might they be feeling?
Mhm.
Because I think the feeling will, when the situation, when the iron is hot, it's the feeling that leads and dominates the thought, right?
The blood goes away, like to the fight, flight, or to the response, and so there's really no control.
Mm.
It's just a reaction.
Correct.
It's a biological reaction.
Yeah.
And it's often that ego thought. What will the other person think about this? How do we know what they think about this? We're not in their head.
That's right.
You can only change ourselves.
Mm.
You can only control yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And even that control is a sort of an illusion.
Yeah, it's not control.
We're controlling what the 1-2% that we are aware of.
Mm-hmm. Very true, Hans.
And that's where the work comes, that we are aware of that. What can we do with it then?
Then we
Yes.
can
Then we can work deeper.
Yes. And so allowing is our superpower then, right?
Yeah.
And to allow, you need to trust. And those are the opposite of control.
Yeah.
You cannot get there without real work and introspection and all
Couldn't really hear you, Chi. Couldn't make it out.
that. Yeah, we could, what I was saying, that we can only get there through working with ourselves, with introspection.
Yeah. I agree. I would call that self-awareness.
Yeah.
Not awareness, self-awareness. Because awareness is you're awake, so you're aware.
When we have self-awareness, we awake. Yeah. we see it more clearly. Yeah, when we go through life, it's so foggy out there. Nothing is clear. But with awareness, suddenly it clears up.
Mm.
Yeah, I have it from a quote. I can't remember. Yeah, something about self-awareness. It works. It's a work that never ends. It's an ongoing process to get to know oneself, because we're changing all the time.
I agree. So I don't know why we would say we're not.
Mm. Because there's a confusion between stability and fixedness.
Mm.
Stability allows for change.
Yeah,
People
like,
think,
sorry.
no, go ahead, Chi.
No, I'm good.
You want me to talk?
Yes, please.
Okay, so stability. How would I describe stability? Something is
Safe.
I don't know, Jess, because I guess yes, but
It
it's not.
Depends on the wound.
Mm.
It all comes down to the wound.
Yeah, and it comes from whether you let your wound control you, or are you controlling the wound?
That's right. So that's where it's like it'll be a different word for different woundings.
Mm.
Yes.
Which is why structure is so important and not the specifics.
Yes.
Which means what's important is finding our own words within the structure.
Yes.
So, but if we go back to, well, I want to circle back to safety and stable and fixed. I think for any structure, there does need to be a point of stability, but it's not a fixed point. If it becomes fixed, then there's no opportunity for expansion.
Even if that's what we want.
Yeah.
Even if expansion is what we want. We can feel like the safe, stable, fixed is how we get there.
That's right. So
that's sad.
It is. It's very sad. But then how does one? Because I'm asking a question because I don't have the words for it. How does one distinguish between something that is stable, that has a stable point? I think that's the thing. Is that one point is stable, the others dance around it, And that stable point eventually gets moved to another point, but it is still within it stable. As opposed to when it's fixed, it's there, and if other points dance around it, they dance around it and then they leave. Because that point won't move. The fixed point won't move. So it's a bit like grasping. The fixed point is a grasped point, not allowing for any gap to take place.
The fixed point is the inner alignment that we have to. Yes.
For me, Chi, that's stable. The alignment is the stability. That's I like that.
It's not that it come by itself. We have to mindfulness. I think mindfulness play a big role in.
Yes, that could be a stable point. Awareness could be a stable point. Love is a stable point. Oh, sorry, Heinz, I couldn't hear. I'm so sorry, and I spoke over you.
Even a sinking ship is stable. It's just going the wrong way. It's not doing what it's supposed to. It's not floating anymore, but it's stable.
So
Yeah.
rightness is perceived as a stable point.
Yes, and it's a fixed point.
Mm-hmm. Control is viewed as a stable point. Perceived.
No, it's perceived as stable, but for me, it's fixed.
Mm-hmm.
The right moral can be a fixed point.
Sorry, Chi, I couldn't make out what you were saying.
I'm just something that came to my mind. I don't know whether it make any sense. I forgot it. Thanks.
The right moral is a fixed point.
Yeah. How we interact with daily life, with situations and people, with the right moral. Not stealing from one another, not hurting one another, not diminishing one another.
It's hard.
But there's a constant practice. Like we have to align with that energy. If we do that when we meditate, when we do positive affirmation, that's many things, many ways. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Or if that is. Yeah, my mind is just jumping around right at the moment.
Mine is too, Chi, sorry.
But it's good. It's a good practice. I'm enjoying it. It's so easy. The mind can take it. Either we are flowing or we're crashing. It could take us in both directions. I think part of mastering yourself is mastering your mind.
100%.
Even if you master your mind, you still have a mind of its own.
Yes. So you have to keep on practicing.
Just know that it's there, and just observing it.
The only thing we're really with in our mind is what is conscious. The subconscious is working constantly.
Yeah, that's the automatic.
Heinz, I'm so sorry that the sound is really difficult from you guys today. And I really wanted
because
to
we
hear
have to move the phone compared to where the microphone is.
We're sitting so far apart from the phone, and
Sorry.
and the phone is in the middle. It's not that we
We are shouting at the phone. Hey, phone! I want to.
So
technical.
can you remember what you said just before I complained about the sound?
Ooh. It was about the mind. That the mind, all we can work with is the 1, 2, 3% that we're aware of.
Yes.
The rest of it will still be working against us if it can.
Yes.
Work for us, whatever we allow it to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
we can work with the mind. Yeah. And not just to be in control with the mind is working with the mindfulness. I think it's like calming it down, and the mind, you can go so fast. It's constantly,
Yeah. Yeah. It does
Working
go
with
very fast.
Working with it is becoming aware of the awareness itself.
Yes.
Yeah, because most of my life, I have this automatic in my mind, this negative thoughts. It was just automatic. Yeah. So, blame, shame, guilt, fear, and all that triggers. When you allow it to think negatively, it just triggers more and more negatively.
Yes. And so I'm aware of the time, but can I just pose something quickly? Okay, so if we had to think about an intimate relationship, and that it has there are two people involved, so there's the energetic system within each person, and then it's what happens in the chemistry, you could say, or the vibration of the chemistry, what happens between the two of them. And my question, what was my question? Oh God, it's gone. Couldn't have been all that.
Intimate relationship, the energy between.
Yeah, if you only have what exists between the two, if you only have that, if you have that space dominated by only one party's system, it has no chance of growing.
Agree. I think it's it's the unresolved. You know, when we work. Again, you know, we cannot change another person, only oneself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can only think in terms of energy. What kind of energy you want to align with? It's this all come back to our reaction, what we choose to, how we choose to react
or respond, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there has to be a communication, a mutual understanding. Start with questions, yeah, like we're practicing here.
And a willingness. A willingness to engage.
Yeah, what you want change, first step is to choose change. So and things will not change by themselves. Change takes time.
And willingness. Yeah.
And willingness. I don't know if that's an answer to your question.
No, it was good noodle. Thank you.
Good noodles. It's just noodling with it.
Yes. And I really appreciate everybody's participation.
And you're very welcome. It's not easy questions you're asking. Yeah. I have to learn in the hard way. Talking about intimate relationship, you know, like a marriage. Yeah, be compassionate.
Yeah, very.
Sorry, Jesse.
Yeah, it's just yeah, that's one. So going through what we're talking about here today, in the middle of it, I was able to say, "What is it? Like, what? Well, maybe not in the middle of it, but afterwards, I was in the reflection of it, like replaying it, looking at it, like reflecting on my responses to the information that was presented. Where was I taking it personal? What was I attached to? And what I'll speak to was that it felt like I was able to pluck out a lot of my old anger patterns. And I don't know until I run into the situation again, right? But it just feels like that. One, I had the intention, that's what I was doing. And two, it felt much better that I did it. Now, would you say that's change? I would, but I don't need the outside world or anyone else on the outside to say that was change. Otherwise, it's an if-then statement. I don't play in conditions. I won't make them. I'll try not to. Yeah, but they are conditions that are there, and there's some that I'm unaware of. Fine. But then sorry. Say it again, Heinz. I couldn't hear you.
Change has nothing with the words we say or hear. It's all about the feeling of it. Do we feel the change? You can talk about the change, but do you really feel it? Then there is a change.
And if someone is fixed, are they going to see change?
Not necessarily, no.
I think so. Because it is, our reality is what we see or what we are quote aware of.
Yeah.
So going through it, it was like I was seeing this pattern. It was like, what is it? Like, what is in this pattern? Like, what is my pattern to it? Like in this situation, replaying this where I plucked out all my anger, it was like, what was it? Like I was looking for the roles, right? The roles, because that's my identity of them. And the word that came up, and it never came up before, right? So these are like layers. The word was accused. Accuser and accused. Those are two roles. It's like, oh, fascinating. It's like if I'm accused, what do I do? Oh, there's my pattern, right? There's the behavior. Now you call that aware. It's like, oh, I was aware of the accuser. I had it lumped into defender. And the fighter. It's like, oh, see, it's a different flavor. Accuser is a different flavor. The reactions, the behaviors, right? The intention is all the same to be safe, but it's a different flavor, which then opens a different layer. And so then I could sit with, oh, now it's like, Allison, what you were pointing to is like, oh, now you see it for the information it is. Now you can speak to it as if I can speak as if I get accused. And my response, my whole life has been when I've been accused, well, number one, what is it? First of all, I'm wrong. You're telling me I'm wrong. Oh, that's just my reaction to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do whatever I can to slip out of that pressure. All it is like, that's aware. Now that doesn't mean I have to continue to do that. My point is that's my automatic. That's my reaction. And if I'm not aware of what I'm doing in the moment with it, there's nothing I can do about it. So I just share that was my learning, like what I uncovered with it, what it was there for me in that moment to say, oh, that's the feeling I get. That's all I hear in that situation. And the other person may not even be like, no, that's not what I'm doing, but it's the only thing I hear. So what's true? One, that I don't want to be accused, and I don't want to feel like I'm accused. That's a victim role. So, and what's also true is that it doesn't have to be fixed. It isn't permanent. It takes effort to get there.
I'm just laughing because I put it on mute and then I was talking about
Oh, shame, Hans.
well, like
And
you
then
said,
and then I was talking over you, right? Just like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. When you asked who's right, well, it depends on who of the two people you ask.
Yes.
It's also always a what perspective. That's why it's so expansive to say, well, I might not be right. What
Yes.
can I learn from it?
exactly.
What possibilities are there?
Possibilities are there, you know, and conditions are part of the can be part of the possibilities, but they're not as effective as the expansive possibilities.
Yeah.
Point of it is that you'll see conditions to the moment you don't see conditions.
Mm.
Right. And there's no consistency, there's no stability in conditions.
Mm.
And then like try to like imagine putting conditions around a rebel identity. What are you going to get?
Resistance.
Really, like at the you're going to get a pissed off rebel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a choice.
Yep. Choice when you're aware. So aware you're being choice. You're always.
One of the
important.
great,
So aware you're being choice.
one of the great things I tell myself is that's their way of looking at it. I can't change that. I can change how I take it.
They sure want to change mine.
Yeah, but that's their way of looking.
I know. That's sad.
You can't change the way they look at things. They have their own eyes. And everyone has their own way of looking at one person. That's what I tell my son. You can't satisfy the whole world. Half of them will like you, the other half will hate you. That's just the way life is. The most important thing is that we are true to ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah. So go. Compassion. What's compassion? As it is.
And often when you show people you're true to yourself, then you're being authentic. Then they say, well, instead of blaming you, they sort of change their way of asking you, so it becomes more of a question.
It's just, it serves us in so many ways, you know, what we're doing here. Because, you know, working around the fireside, you get different perspective. You know.
Yes.
So that is very, yeah, it's the best way of working through it, and you know, by getting as many perspectives as we can.
That's right. And there's and like dancing with them in the moment. It's like, oh yeah, I had never thought of that. I could do this, I could do that. And so when we work with other people like that, it opens up the space.
Yeah.
And for others that aren't working with anyone,
Yes, yes.
I become the problem.
Here we have a lot of programs running together. When you're alone with it, it's just your own default program running over it again and again and again. And normally it doesn't go anywhere. It just blames you for getting nowhere.
It's a confirmation bias that you're right. That's all it proves. It just proves that you're right. That's the only reason that that's there.
When there's, in reality, there's no right, no wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's no what.
Right, if the ego has to be right, it'll call you stupid. As long as it's right about it.
That's right.
It's like telling the dog, don't sit. At least I'm gonna be right. Walk, whatever. It doesn't work very well for the commando then. So working with ourselves, we gotta learn the brain to take commands also, because it'll fight your head all of the way if it can.
Nothing better than conditional love.
That's the ego for you. It's the conditioner for your love to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, if you
That's why it's good to pause. Step back.
Detach.
Detach, yes.
Just for a different perspective. It's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with more perspectives, because you can still choose the one you got.
Mm-hmm.
You can always come back to it and choose it. You just know that, oh, I've looked at other possibilities. That's creating space. It's all. And attachments, like our attachments, they don't create much space. They're fixed until we look at them, explore them, and be like, oh, what is this? Oh, what a great morning. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
all have a good
everybody.
day. Thank
Yes,
You guys-
have a great day,
Have a
guys.
wonderful day.
You guys have fun
Bye.
together.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.